Good evening. It is 7 p.m. on Sunday, March 20th. Thank you for joining my live Real Talk Live. The topic tonight is how physical health impacts mental health, but also how mental health impacts physical health. So tonight the areas that I'm going to cover is the relationship between physical and mental health, health issues related to community design, health issues, physical health issues, and mental health issues, and then strategies to improve physical health and strategies to improve mental health. So, I'm excited about some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you. First, I want to talk about how does physical health, how is the relationship between physical health and mental health? Well, there's a lot of research that has been done that they actually impact each other. Um, and so, for instance, people with depression often have worse physical health than people without depression. And one example is heart disease and depression. There's a lot of studies that were done. Specifically, one study in 2009 studied patients with severe chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and found that 22% of the participants had at least mild depression. And they scored 14 or more on the Beck Depression Inventory, which is an assessment tool used to determine if someone is depressed or not. So, for 22% of individuals showed signs of mild depression that also had pulmonary disease. So, it's also some study in London by a doctor in the Institute of Psychiatry actually found that the rate of depression in patients with chronic disease was 3 times higher than the normal rate, which is is very, like, for me it made sense because on a personal note, I have several chronic diseases, but they're under control. And thinking about when I first was diagnosed with some of them, it did cause me to feel sad and a little depressed because not knowing if I can walk or do physical activities like I normally did, it really caused a strain on my mental health, the physical part and health part of it. So, health issues related to community design. What does that mean? Well, the CDC actually did, which is the Center for Disease Control, did some research on how a community is set up and how it impacts the physical health of that community, and specific populations, obviously. And there were certain issues that came up in regards to community design. What does that mean, community design? It means that if a community is has more poverty versus a community that is richer or has um, a design that's healthier, which I will explain to you in a moment, there is a higher probability that that community is going to have a higher percentage and rate of physical health issues like heart disease, like diabetes, like um, chronic illnesses, like autoimmune diseases. And then, and it also, they have a higher rate of mental health issues. So, what issues? Well, one is accessibility. So, that means like poorly designed communities um, actually make a difference in whether or not someone has access to medical health, like doctors appointments in hospitals, or even preventative stuff like treatment. Like some people have low B12 issues, so they have to get like shots regularly for that vitamin, because if not, then it starts affecting their joints, etc. But not having accessibility. So it's not just so accessibility is if they have the health insurance accessibility, but also physical accessibility like transportation. So maybe in the some rural areas and deep in the suburbs where there's no like public transportation, like buses and stuff, that's an issue. So that's one example. Another example is gentrification, which is where people live, work, and play has an impact on their health. But so gentrification is intentional disparities created with specific ties to socioeconomic classes. So specifically, it's a displacement of specific populations of people, like poor women, children, specific people with from racial specific racial groups, like for instance, creating affordable housing and projects um, in specific areas can cause less access to medical health and mental health services. Plus, it gives them it creates this stress level because now that community consist of people that are struggling and in poverty. So, I mean, I think so. Gentrification is really an issue that causes a strain on people's health, physical and mental health. And then there's obviously um, other things like respiratory health and air pollution. So, let's say that a community um, is 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 designed where there's a lot of pollution in the air because there is a lot of transportation. Like they have city buses plus other transportation like shuttles, plus there's a lot of cars and parking lots, plus there's a lot of traffic. Um, so it causes a unhealthy air quality, and then that contributes to obvious respiratory health, which then in turn creates mental health issues. So I mean, it's an interesting issue, but the reality is that what does that have to do with anything? Well, if you can create a healthier community design where you have a balance of accessibility where there is transportation, but not too much. So it's about balance, basically. What is the needs of the community and creating a healthy balance so that physical health and mental health is considered in creating the makeup of the community. So, are there too many houses, or are there too many affordable housing buildings, or are there too many not enough? There's too much space and not enough houses or access to houses. So, it's a lot of different things all at once. But the main parts that I want to focus on today is what are the issues with physical health affecting mental health, and then what are the mental health issues that affect physical health. So right now I'm going to talk about the health issues. So there's at least seven health issues that can affect you physically and mentally. So, number one, for instance, and this is mainly women, endometriosis, which is a physical health condition. Actually, it's a health issue with your reproductive system that occurs when uterine tissue abnormally grows outside of the uterus. And it causes a lot of pelvic pain, heavy menstruation, pain during intercourse, uncomfortable bowel movements, etc. Sometimes it even can cause infertility where women cannot have reproduce and have children. So, but there's an estimated amount of 200 million people across the globe that have this disease. And 1 in 10 women in the US alone are diagnosed with it. So, in the US alone, 1 in 10 women, but across the the whole America globally is 200 million people that it affects. So, um, they found that endometriosis reported higher rates of depression, anxiety, and psychiatric disorders, and there was a lower quality of life. So that's one issue. The second issue is eczema, believe it or not, which is you think that okay, it's dry skin, it's itching. It's not only that. There's different levels of eczema. There's little small eczema where you could have like just like maybe your elbow or your hand. And then there's other people who have it in major areas and it causes inflammation and severe redness and skin infections and everything. And it can even cause like respiratory issues if the eczema is um, in your lung area. So there's a survey that showed that 30% of people with eczema also have anxiety or depression or other mental health issues. Then there's other things like obviously fibromyalgia and lupus, which both of them are considered an autoimmune disorder. And it shows that at least 75% of individuals that have fibromyalgia actually have signs of depression, mainly depression, major depressive disorder. And and think about this: fibromyalgia is not diagnosed immediately, and so there's a lot of people living with it that aren't even diagnosed yet. So right now, their estimates are up to 10 million Americans have fibromyalgia. What is fibromyalgia? Well, it includes symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, pain, sleep issues, restless leg syndrome, temperature sensitivity, um, basically a lot of joint pain. And usually doesn't come alone. Usually it ties into a different autoimmune disorder too. Fibromyalgia is not like a standalone health issue. It's usually tied with um, lupus, for instance. That's why I'm talking about both of them. Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease that can damage any part of your body, like your skin, joints, organs, and it's like your body misfires, your system misfires and attacks its own tissues. And like if there's an infection and it causes inflammation, there's things that you have like flare-ups um and what do you call it, that that you are in can experience like severe pain, joint pain, your hips, your legs, your arms, your elbows. And there is another study that found that women, specifically with lupus, were more than likely to have a severe mood disorder or anxiety disorder. Um, and 75% of people with lupus have neuropsychiatric symptoms. So that's big, huge. And then the other ones that is mentioned here, because that was 4 different ones. The other one is irritable bowel syndrome and acne and chronic fatigue syndrome, which is really a thing and people don't realize it. It's a more recent diagnosis where people that have chronic fatigue syndrome actually feel exerted all the time, like always exhausted, faintness, pain, brain fog, sleep issues, either insomnia or sleeping too much. It's like their stress system is dysregulated, their immune system is dysregulated, their central pain mechanism is also off and not um, sending the correct signals of pain or not. Sometimes they may feel pain when there is no physical pain. Um, it's tied to mental health in a way where it sends a false signal. But so those are 7 different health issues that can cause mental health problems like depression and anxiety, mainly depression with physical health. But how else does physical health affect mental health? Well, if you have physical health issues like you can't physically move or you're having issues with nutrition, either you gain too much weight or you lost too much weight, it affects you like how you see yourself, how you view yourself. If you physically can't move a lot, then you actually um feel like you're stuck, like you can't, do a lot of things, and you start having lower serotonin levels, and that's a serotonin is what causes happiness. So and well, happy mood in your body. It's a natural element that actually causes happy mood, and that actually exercising builds more serotonin in your body. Um And then smoking is another obvious thing that affects you physically and in turn affects you mentally. For instance, people that smoke cigarettes, once if you try to stop, you get anxious when you want a cigarette. You It's like you need it, it's an urge, and until you actually smoke, you become jittery. And even if you try to quit, you also have anxiety, and you and you even may want to eat more. So now let's go to that's physical health and how that affects mental health. Now, mental health affecting physical health. So, 7 long term effects of mental health problems on your body. One is the worsening of mental health, which means that if you have a mental health disorder that is not treated and it goes long term, then what ends up happening is that you can start to feel specific physical symptoms like body aches or like um, tummy aches, not being able to eat, or needing to eat more just to feel better. But it affects your quality of life if you don't treat your symptoms, your mental health symptoms. You start feeling physically sick. Anxiety, for instance, can a second thing is anxiety can weaken the immune system. So what happens with the immune system? Anxiety triggers your fight or flight response to intense situations. And so if you're in flight or fight response mode, you can get brain flooding the body with chemicals and hormones like adrenaline, for instance. And in response to those chemicals flooding your body, then your body jacks up your pulse and respiration. And this increases the flow of oxygen to the brain, then which prepares you to respond to the intense situation. And then your body should usually go back to normal, but during that process, it gives your immune system a boost. If this happens too many times, that is what causes anxiety. So, anxiety can weaken the immune system. The third way that mental health can affect you physically is it could dampen the drive to exercise. Like with depression, depression can cause you to not want to do things, not be motivated, not be able to concentrate, not have the energy or the will to do anything. And then you don't exercise, which then causes a unhealthy quality of life. Um, like your mood is off, your emotions are off, and then you don't you don't have the energy to do anything. And then some people even isolate to a point where they cause themselves to have social anxiety. So even like it's that happened during COVID. A lot of people, because they were stuck in their house during that year that we were shut down, the most of us were shut down. The world was shut down, kind of. They, people were isolating so much that when they decided to go out after things were opening, they had extreme social anxiety. They didn't know how to interact with people socially, and it was a problem where they needed help shutting down those anxious thoughts, and how to reacclimate into the world. The fourth issue with mental health causing physical health issues, is a loss of appetite or increase of appetite. We just talked about that a little bit. So that's usually people when you're anxious or you're depressed, you can want to eat more as a coping strategy or don't eat at all. So depending where you're at. The fifth area is an increased need to smoke tobacco or use drugs um, or alcohol as a way to cope with your mental health issues. So that causes physical health. Obviously, if you drink too much, you could eventually have liver issues. So you have to treat the mental health so then it doesn't cause physical health issues. Then there's like skin conditions like psoriasis, which, um, believe it or not, psoriasis is caused by extreme chronic stress over a time period. So that's what happens there. And there's about 7.5 million Americans who actually have psoriasis. Um, and then the seventh and last one is increased risk of substance abuse specifically. So an increased need to smoke tobacco and substance abuse. So they have them separate, but it is all the same. It's unhealthy coping. You smoke too much, or you drink too much, or you use drugs. Anything that is too much can, in order to cope with your mental health, can eventually cause physical health issues. Now, so what can you do? Now I'm going to get to the strategies. So how can you work on your physical health? There's 6 strategies you can use to improve your physical health. And some of these are obvious. These are not new. These are things that you would know that you should do. Like 1, get active. This is to improve your physical health. Okay? Obviously, you should get active, but there's 7 tips on how to get active. Set specific goals for some type of physical activity. It could be even walking, like walking your dog, or like when you do laundry, if you have to go up and down the stairs, maybe set specific goals to go up and down the stairs even more. As examples for physical activity. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. I mean, that you can do unless it's like on the 10th floor, 13th floor. That might be too much stairs, but park your car at the far end of the street or parking lot, or the parking lot of your grocery store. Park your car further away from the entrance so you have to walk. Another tip is set up your space at your home space or your office space so you can walk on a treadmill while you're watching TV or while you're using the computer. Even at work, if it's possible, like if you have your own private office and you do it for a set amount of time only. Set an alarm to go off every hour as a reminder to move around for a minute or two, because sitting, like if you have a job where you're in the office and you're sitting like for 8 hours, you're going to want to get up and stand up and walk around for at least a minute or something. Have small weights in your office or around your home for doing arm exercises. Or, I mean, you don't even need like weights. You could do exercises in your chair, like moving your arm or lifting your legs. And then the last tip is take a walk on your lunch breaks or have walking meetings with colleagues at work. Instead of just sitting in a conference room and meeting inside with one-on-one meeting, you could take a walk around your building, your work building, or around the block while you talk about your meeting. The second strategy is maintain your body muscles and build your muscle safely. So there's 7 tips here how to do that. 1 is start slowly. You don't want to ever do anything. If you haven't been exercising or doing anything for a while, you don't want to just jump in and say, I'm going to do an hour of kickboxing. No, you should start off slow, even if you start with like 5 minutes. 2, pay attention to your body. So if you're exhausted or you have joints are sore or muscle pain, that is giving you a message that you might be overdoing it. Now, you're gonna have pain if you push yourself and exercise a little too long, like after not exercising for a while. I'm not, no pain, no gain, but at the same time, if you're sore, like let's say you do stomach exercises, your abs, and the next morning you have, like aches and pain, maybe you give that a break for one day and then do it in a different day. That happened to me this week. I alternate between legs, arms, or stomach, and I did I did sit-ups, and the next morning I was in so much pain. So I didn't do stomach and abs that day. I did legs the next day. So that's an example. The third tip is use small amounts of weights to start. Or you could use your own body weight first and then add little dumbbells. So you want to start slowly. And you could, use your own body weight and then maybe go to 5 pounds. A little bit at a time. Use smooth, steady movements to lift weights into position. That's the 4th tip. 5th tip, avoid locking your arms and leg joints in a straight position. Number 6, don't hold your breath during strength exercises. And number 7, ask for help, by a trainer or a friend or somebody you know goes and exercises regularly. So, a third strategy, find a healthy weight for you. Now, this is important to me, this one, because you go to the doctor and they use the BMI scale and there is a set weight that you're supposed to have. But the truth is this, not everybody's body structure is the same. So you have to keep in mind that even though they expect you to be at a certain weight, if you have like your hips are bigger, like your bone structure is bigger, you want to be careful not to lose too much weight, because that might not be healthy for you. But so find a healthy weight for you. And then how do you do that? Well, by eating healthy, by being active, and by tracking your progress truthfully. And remember, any progress is progress. If you're eating healthier, then that's progress. Even if you're not as active like you want to be. So start somewhere is my point. Until you meet your goals. And it's not about doing it for a short time period. You have to create a whole new lifestyle for yourself. So then it becomes a part of your daily routines to do these things. Um, like for me, for instance, I have to exercise in the morning, and and how I eat in the morning will dictate how I eat for the rest of the day. So you have to start your day off the right way. If I don't exercise in the morning, I will not exercise the rest of the day. It doesn't work for me. You have to figure out what works for you. And so keep that in mind, that what works for one person may not work for you. You know how your friends try to give you advice. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. You have to determine for yourself what works for you, and not, you can take tips from other people, but you have to modify it to your lifestyle and what you have going on. If you have kids, if you work, if some days you work 12 hours versus other days you work 5 hours, or if you have like so many other responsibilities, if you're in school, you have to keep in mind what you have going on in your life as a whole when you're creating goals for yourself or trying to find like a healthy balance. To get yourself in a good, healthy physical state. The fourth strategy is mind your metabolism. Now, this right here is a little tough because with age it changes, but if you're younger, your metabolism burns really quickly. As we get older, the metabolism is not the same, and for women, it's even worse because when you hit menopause, metabolism definitely doesn't work the same as so you burn fewer calories if your metabolism is not working correctly. And so how can you fight and make sure that your metabolism is functioning correctly? Well, there's 7 tips to do that. One is commit to a healthy diet. And what is a healthy diet? Remember, it's healthy for you. So you need to know what you need in your body. In our body, naturally, we have certain vitamins and minerals. And and depending on our body makeup, our health issues that we may or may not have, our genetics, our that we get passed down to us by our family. Unfortunately, we may have low levels of certain things, and we have to keep that in mind. So, committing to a healthy diet may mean that you might need more vitamin C foods and vitamin D foods versus somebody else that just needs to have more protein in their diet. So you have to know your body makeup, and there are ways that you can figure that out. You can go to a naturopathic doctor, or you can go to um, special doctors like Medi Weight Loss. They do a whole workup on you. They do blood work and everything, and they can tell you, they do testing, and they could tell you how well your metabolism is working or not, and put together like foods for you, that things you need. Like, do you need more protein? Do you need more vegetables? Do you need more greens? Do you need more things with vitamin D? They'll tell you all that stuff. But commit at least to a healthy diet. And then 2, limit snacking. And if you're going to snack, obviously replace it with something healthier. So, for instance, we get cravings. Is natural, human beings, we get cravings, either salt or sugar. And so instead of having a piece of cake for sugar, have a fruit, because they're both sugar, but it's a healthier choice. And then like for salt, you should have something like carrots or sauerkraut, believe it or not, is also good. Anything fermented is really good and will help you with the cravings of salt. But if you crave something and you really want it, this is what I would tell you. If you don't have it now, later on you're going to want it again. So it's about portion control, and that's one of the tips too, is making sure you have portion control. So portion control is like, okay, you want a piece of cake, have a little piece of cake. It satisfies your craving and you're not overdoing it so you don't get sick or gain weight or get diabetes. Like that's the point of this, is getting your physical health um, under control. Drink plenty of water. Um, the fourth is move more, like get up and walk back and forth. Even in your house, you don't even have to go out anywhere. Get plenty of sleep. That is an issue right there. And as you get older, for some reason, you know how babies, when they're born, they sleep every 2 to 4 hours, they're waking up. For some reason, as we get older, as older adults, that happens. After 4 hours, you actually wake up. You have to push yourself to get plenty of sleep. And a good sleep, depending on your age. Like teenagers need like 14 hours of sleep. And you wonder why your teenagers might be sleeping so much. The truth is that they need 14 hours of sleep. Their body is developing, they're going through puberty, and they need as much sleep as possible. Um, but a good healthy sleep is between 6 and 8 hours, truthfully. Limit alcohol use is another tip. Alcohol is high in calories and may worsen health conditions if you have them already. And the last one, avoid tobacco products. Any kind of tobacco products, not just cigarettes, but any type of tobacco products. Limit them. All right. The fifth strategy to get physically in good health is eat a healthy diet. We already talked about that. Like one thing is replace one of your drinks with water instead of drinking juice. Um, Eat a variety of foods, get more fiber. There's all kinds of things you can do and plenty of information out there. The last strategy is even the most healthiest, the most important strategy, and the one that's going to help the most with your physical health. It is building healthy habits. That is the last strategy. And it's really important because if you build healthy habits, then you will have a healthier diet. Then you will be more active. Then you would maintain your muscle. Then you would find a healthy weight and mind your metabolism. So building healthy habits is the most important thing. So how do you do that? There's 8 tips here. One is plan, obviously. So set realistic goals that you can meet. So realistic goals, that's very important because sometimes we want to do A, B, C, D, E, F, but it's not realistic to do all that. So start where you can so you make sure that you actually achieve it. Number 2, change your surroundings. You need to be in better surroundings. So like for instance, if you're trying to eat healthy, don't go to a burger restaurant. Like if you're trying to eat healthy, I'm saying unless it's a special treat for yourself and you're going there once in a while. Like there's nothing wrong with a burger. What's wrong is the type of meat and all the extra stuff you put on it. That's what you have to keep in mind. Because actually, you can have a burger. That's not the problem. It's how much is it ground beef? And if it's ground beef, like how much of that ground beef is a percentage of fat versus lean? So it's a lot of more information around it. It's not just you can't have burger, but you have to make sure that you're having healthier choices. So you have to change your surroundings so you don't get tempted to have, bad foods or use unhealthy coping strategies. Like if you have a problem with alcohol, you don't want to go to a bar or a restaurant that has alcohol. If you know you have a problem with gambling, you don't want to go to a casino. So that's what it means. Change your surroundings. Make sure you don't put yourself in the risk to be tempted to do something. Okay. Number 3 tip, ask for support. It's okay to have a support system from friends or family or coworkers or neighbors or a group of strangers to help you, stay on track with your goals and everything. If you have trust issues, that's a whole different conversation. And I would say that you don't have to ask for support sometimes, specifically around losing weight. You wouldn't necessarily say, "Hey, I need your support to lose weight." Instead, you would say, "Hey, I want come walking with me. I want to start walking." Ask them to support you in the activity you're going to do, not necessarily in what you're struggling with, okay? 4, fill your time with healthy activities like exercising or a favorite hobby or spending time with family and friends only if it's healthy. If it's a unhealthy relationship with a family member or a friend, that's not what this is about. Anything that's going to be toxic or unhealthy or negative in your life, no, you need to remove those things. This is saying like fill your time with healthy activities. 5, track your progress. That way you know that you are making progress. Even if it's a little movement towards the right direction, is movement, you know? Even if it's you switch from, granulated white sugar to raw sugar, that's movement and progress. Progress is progress, so track it. 6, imagine the future. Think about the future benefits if you stay on track. You can even do that's why people do vision boards so you can see how your goals and what vision of what you want to have. And that's good with like any of your goals, buying a house, buying a car, completing your education, you trying to have a healthy lifestyle, like eating healthy or exercising. Anything you want, you could visually put it on like a poster board or anything. So you can actually imagine it. 7, reward yourself. That is so important because just like kids get rewarded when they have good behavior, as adults, we should also reward ourselves when we actually achieve the things we want to achieve, especially if we are staying on track with, our strategies of having a healthy physical and mental health. So reward yourself. I don't know, you can get a small ice cream. Just don't eat the whole pint. Eat like half of it. Um, or go to get a massage or get your hair done special. The last tip is be patient. Improvement takes time and setbacks may happen. Focus on progress, small progress, not perfection. Not, okay, I didn't meet my goal of losing 5 pounds, but I lost 2 pounds, right? So be realistic and be okay because you're working towards your goals, okay? Then besides that, there's 10 simple tips to improve your health. 10 small ways. These are just examples. Like for instance, this is a spin-off of some of the stuff I already mentioned, but this is how to do it, how to make it happen. So like in order for you to get good sleep, well, instead of that's too general and it's hard sometimes to come up with tips and things you could do. So one, get an hour or more of sleep per day. That's easier to accomplish. You know what? I'm going to sleep 1 more hour or I'm going to go to bed 1 hour earlier. That you can set that goal. Two, set out some easy to eat fruit, an apple, an orange, or something that you could just throw in your bag to go to work. Um, 3, replace one drink per day with water. I mentioned that already. 4, daily relaxation. You should at least take 15 to 20 minutes each day to relax. It could be sitting there and doing nothing. It could be yoga. It could be meditation. It could be journal writing. It could be non-demanding reading. So like reading something that you actually enjoy, not because of school or because of work. But 15 to 20 minutes a day. Number 5, slow down at mealtime. Eat slower because we sometimes eat too fast to hurry up, and then that's not good. So eat slower. That will help. Number 6, replace one meat entree a week with a vegetarian alternative. So maybe for breakfast don't have meat, or for lunch don't have meat. That's what they're saying. Replace one meal without to not have meat. 7, walk a little more, just a little bit more. 8, replace white bread with brown bread, and that could be wheat um, or anything else, or replace rice or pasta with brown rice or brown pasta, or like instead of pasta, do zucchini pasta. Number 9, add variety to your salad. So instead of just iceberg lettuce, you could switch it to spinach or red lettuce, or you could add red onions in your salad. So add variety that's healthy. And the last one is pay attention to portions. So portion control is the most important thing for physical health. So that is ways to improve your physical health. Now, ways to improve your mental health. And then this is going to be pretty quick, but there are 8 ways to improve your mental health. One is stay positive. So how can you do that when you have negative things going on? You just have to find a balance and and do things that make you feel good, make you happier. And like things like giving yourself a break when you really need it. Instead of, I have to do laundry and I have to clean the house and I have to take the kids to practice, or I have to go to my parents' house because I said I would do this. Sometimes say no and take a break. And I talked about that in my Coffee with a Message just a couple weeks ago. That was one of the challenge for you to say no. But take a break. Take a break from negative people. Take a break from negative things. Take a break from negative environments. So that's how you stay positive. Number 2, practice gratitude. So what are you thankful for? It's important to think about on a daily basis the things you're thankful for. You can think about it, or you can write it down on paper, or you can put it in your phone as a reminder, like things to be that I'm grateful for. 3, take care of your physical health. That will improve your mental health. 4, connecting with others. Human beings, we're social creatures, so we need to have social interaction with other people. So when we don't, we um, start feeling depressed or anxious or like nobody cares about us. So connect with others. So at least once a week, you should be engaging in some type of social activity. And it could be like going to family's house or seeing one friend or spending time with your partner. Like it does not have to be like going to a bar or a party all the time. Just connect with others. 5, develop a sense of meaning and purpose in life. So you should always have a goal you're working on, something you're looking forward to doing. Um, and number 6, develop healthy coping skills. That is when you are struggling with something, how do you handle it? What healthy things can you do for yourself so you can cope in a way where it's not going to cause more harm on you physically or mentally? And if you don't know healthy coping skills, that's the one of the main reasons people go to therapy, is so they can develop and learn coping skills. Number 7, meditation or breathing exercises or any kind of yoga is really important. Number 8, relaxation techniques. Now, relaxation techniques can be breathing exercises, can be something called guided imagery, which I talk about um, in other lives. Meanwhile, the last thing I'm going to talk about is 31 quick tips to boost your mental health, right? These quick tips. Number 1, track gratitude and achievement with a journal. So, like 3 things, you could list 3 things you were grateful for and 3 things you were able to accomplish each day. And that's really powerful when you do that. And I always tell people that's considered a positive journal, and those you should keep. But if you're going to journal negative feelings, those you should not keep. I always say that because I want people to really get that. Number 2, start your day with a cup of coffee. Everybody knows that is my thing. I love coffee. And actually, I'm drinking coffee right now. I start and end my day with coffee. That's my happy place. Um, Actually, there's research that shows that coffee consumption is linked to lower rates of depression. I think that's probably why I'm not depressed, because I have coffee. Anyway, that's my own thing. Number 3, set up a getaway. You should always be doing little trips, even if it's a day trip. It doesn't have to be a whole trip to Florida or Mexico or anything like that. It could be a day trip to a spa or to the beach or to hiking or anything. A getaway. You need a getaway. Um, and it says that research shows that you should have a getaway at least once every 2 months, you know? I agree, Tamika. Coffee is a hug and a mug. Number 4, work your strengths. So do something you're good at instead of trying something new always. And trying something new is good because it pushes you out of your comfort zone. And, there's opportunity in that. But work on your strengths. Do something that you know you're good at. Because if you're good at it, when you finish it, it's going to make you feel good. So if you're good at pottery or crocheting or painting or drawing or dancing, or I don't know, anything you're good at, work on doing something that you're good at because it helps build your self-confidence. Makeup, hair, even if it's not what you do for work, but you're good at it, so try it. 5, keep it cool for a good night's sleep, meaning that your temperature in your home should be between 60 and 67 degrees. I don't know, it depends how, if you're going through menopause or you have anemia or a low immune system, you're going to be cold. So, but if you have a normal body temperature and you don't deal with menopause or anemia or anything like that, it should be between 60 and 67 because you have better sleep when it's between those degrees. Believe it or not, that's very interesting, right? Number 6, um, this is, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. Meaning anything that you're trying to do, you don't necessarily have to see the whole goal accomplished. Just take that first step towards that goal. Take that first step towards you moving in the right direction. Number 7, experiment with a new recipe, write a poem, paint. That's where you can try something new to push yourself. Number 8, show some love to someone in your life. Close, quality relationships are key for happiness and being healthy, believe it or not. Number 9, boost brain power by treating yourself to a couple pieces of dark chocolate every few days. Now, this is research. It's telling you to have dark chocolate every few days because dark chocolate is healthier than white chocolate anyway. But white chocolate tastes so good. It's so horrible. But dark chocolate is better for you. Number 10, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. Maya Angelou said that. So if you have personal experience with mental illness or recovery, it's actually very healthy for you to share that when you're ready, not just anytime. But venting is very therapeutic. Sharing is very therapeutic. And I didn't realize how important that was until I went through my own healing with my own trauma. And as I shared my story years ago, I felt so much lighter because I was carrying all that with me. It's like a heavy load that you take off of yourself when you share, and it says you can share on social media, but I would say you have to be comfortable first and you have to be okay with what happened before you start sharing. So be careful with that. Number 11, sometimes we don't need to add new activities to get more pleasure. We just need to soak up what we already have, like the joy and happiness we already have. Sometimes we just have to stop and just enjoy and appreciate and value the things we have. Like if you have somewhere to live, okay, it's not a mansion, but it's your mansion. It's not like a big mansion, but it's your space. So just, it's like living in the moment and taking pleasure in the things that you do already. Like cooking. Make it exciting for yourself. Sometimes it feels like a burden to cook dinner because you're like, oh, I got to go home and cook dinner after working all day. But make it fun, make it exciting, make it something interesting for yourself. That's only an example. Number 12, feeling anxious, take a trip down memory lane and do some coloring for about 20 minutes to help you clear your mind. Believe it or not, coloring and coloring books are very therapeutic. So, and there's a lot of nice coloring books out there now. And on Amazon, you can find them really nice. Number 13, take time to laugh. Laughter is so important and healthy for you, for your mental health. I always tell people watch a comedy show, watch a comedy movie, watch videos. Like I have a playlist of funny videos that I can watch just to laugh. It helps to reduce anxiety. Number 14, go off the grid, meaning turn your phone off, put it away, disconnect from technology altogether. and spend time doing something fun that's more face to face. So like when you go on vacation, don't stay taking pictures and posting on social media the whole time. Enjoy your vacation or your getaway or your day trip, you know. Um, 15, dance around while you do your housework. That's true. And sing if you want to. That is really, it makes it fun. Like I dance while I vacuum. Don't judge me. Yes, I dance while I vacuum. Number 16, go ahead and yawn. Actually, you know how you want to stop yawning and like yawning is contagious? Actually, yawning is very helpful. It actually helps cool the brain and improves alertness and mental efficiency. So go ahead and yawn if you need a yawn. It's not a negative thing. Number 17, relax in a warm bath once a week, it says, with Epsom salt or, you know, some bubbles or Calgon, take me away still. 18, has something been bothering you? Let it all out on paper. Writing about upsetting experiences can reduce symptoms of depression, but after you write it out, I always say, because it's a negative thing, rip it up, shred it, throw it out. Don't keep it because you will keep revisiting and reading it. Number 19, spend some time with a furry friend, meaning an animal, because animals actually lower people's stress hormone. For some reason, more cortisol is lowered and it boosts your oxytocin, which stimulates feelings of happiness. If you don't have a pet, hang out with a friend that has a pet, or you could volunteer at a shelter. Um, they're always looking for people. Um, Number 20, what lies before us and what lies behind us are small matters compared to what lies within us. And when you bring what is within you out into the world, miracles happen. So that is talking about practicing mindfulness. So what is in you? What feelings do you have inside of yourself? And the problem with that is if you have suffered from any type of trauma, it is hard to tap into that inner peace and inner self that has something in you that is present and beautiful because you're clouded with the traumatic negative experience and you have to get rid of the cloud and you have to really work through and heal from your traumatic experience. So I would say that this is a great one, but there's some work that has to be done there. You could practice mindfulness and you will work towards having more and more closer to inner peace. So you can do that, but I would say if you've been through some type of trauma, it's important that you heal. So there, I would say, please seek therapy for that. Number 21, be a tourist in your own town. Sometimes we take for granted where we live and we forget all the beauty in it. And when outsiders come to visit, they're like, "Wow, this is beautiful. This church is really nice." And you're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that church was there." So be a tourist in your own town. Go around your own town. Look at the buildings. Look at the parks. Look at the stores, the restaurants. Just explore the attractions. 22, try prepping your lunches or picking out your clothes for the work week. One of my friends on Facebook, and I don't know if she's on here, but one of my friends on Facebook actually had posted Sunday she does meal prep for the whole week, and she put the picture of all her little containers. It was so smart, and most of it is like salad and stuff. You don't want to like some foods you can't prepare it ahead of time because it can go bad. But the things that she prepared was really good, and it gave me some great ideas for my own self. I probably would do meal prep on Mondays, not Sunday, because my days off is Sunday, Monday. So, but that is a good idea. Number 23, work some omega-3 fatty acids into your diets. And the reason why is because it actually helps decrease the rates of depression and schizophrenia. And omega-3 is like wild salmon, flax seeds, or walnuts. You can even throw flax seeds. I usually throw it in a smoothie or even in a salad. And it helps to build your healthy gut. Um, so 24, practice forgiveness. That is not as simple as it sounds, but you could start with forgiving yourself from when you make mistakes and do things. Forgiving others is more of a work in progress. So you might need a little guidance and help with that. So you might want to see a therapist for that too. 25, what appeared to be calamities are often the sources of fortune. So sometimes when we think that something bad happened to us, or like you didn't get a job and you're frustrated because you didn't get a job, but what you didn't realize is you not getting that job actually led you to getting the better job. Sometimes in the moment you don't realize that. So it's saying, take things with a grain of salt. So because sometimes there is a silver lining and something beautiful will happen, that is meant to happen. Sometimes we want things that are not for us. And so we have to be patient. Number 26, if you're feeling stressed, smile. Now, not a fake smile. So I would say, in order for you to smile sometimes when you're feeling stressed out, you might have to watch something funny and then you could smile. Smiling helps. Number 27, send a thank you note to somebody, a thank you text, a thank you email, somebody who you were thinking about, or through Messenger or through DM. Like, hey, I was thinking about something you did for me and I just want to thank you for that. I appreciate you. You can make somebody's day by doing that, truthfully. And it makes you feel good because you made somebody else feel good. 28, do something with friends and family. Like have a cookout or a get together, play cards, go to a park, play dominoes, play bingo. Um, but do something fun with them. And it says to spend 6 to 7 hours with friends and family. I'm like, that's a long time. When I was first looking into this, I'm like, I don't know if I could handle 6 or 7 hours with people. That's a lot. But it says that it can make you feel happy and reduce depression. So you should try it. 29, take 30 minutes to go for a walk in nature, at least once a week, is saying. Walk in nature um, or around the track or go to the beach. It depends what you really like. 30, do your best to enjoy 15 minutes of sunshine. And then, of course, they say put sunscreen on, but it really, 15 minutes of sunshine every day actually helps to increase your vitamin D and improve your mood. And then the last one, 31, anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. So try something out of your comfort zone to make room for adventure and excitement in your life. But be realistic. Don't go bungee jumping if you're afraid of heights and you don't want to, that might be too much for you. Baby steps. So those are 31 tips to boost your mental health. So in summary, and today was a little longer because I had a lot of information to share, because the reality is that physical health, if you don't take care of your physical health, it then impacts your mental health. If you don't take care of your mental health, it impacts your physical health. So basically, the bottom line is you have to take care of both. And I will upload this to my YouTube channel so that way you can watch it again, because there was a lot of tips and strategies that I went through. So thank you for joining me again for my Real Talk live tonight, Sunday. And join me next Sunday for our next topic. And if not, tomorrow morning, my coffee with a message. Have a good day. Bye.